Go ahead and call to order the regular monthly meeting of the Paintsville Utilities Commission, Monday, March 7th, 2016. First on the agenda is roll call. Mitch Kenner.
Here.
Mike Schmidt. L.B. Lemaster.
Here.
Walter Preston.
Here.
Second item on the agenda is review and approval of the minutes. 2A is for the regular meeting, February 1st, 2016. Does anybody have anything to add or talk about on those minutes?
Make a motion to approve those minutes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next on the agenda is for the special meeting on February 26th. Any comments relating to that?
Make a motion to approve those minutes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next up on the agenda is review and approval of the operating report. Anybody got any comments pertaining to the operating report? Bob, I got a question on it. When you talked about the depreciation that went up, is this something that we had budgeted so much each month, and now it's going to go up that amount?
Correct.
You said,
That's more than we'd expected.
but I mean, was that something we tried to budget for at the
We
beginning of the
did
year?
try to budget for it, but it's more than we were expecting. They recalculated when they closed out the water plant project.
So we got our final total what it was, and that's what we have to depreciate over the next 5 months, is it, for this budget year?
Right.
We talked about last time also where our gas sales and everything had been down. Have you had a chance to maybe look at the numbers to see what it may end up being as far as how much out we could be by the end of the year if things don't change?
It's really hard to tell till you bill them.
Well, I didn't know if you might have took an average of what it could be according to what we spent or made so far this year, project that down for the next 5 months, as well as our water sales, gas purchases. And
There's no way to do that on gas with variable weather. So your next billing is up. It's actually, the next two should be the two big ones.
mhm.
Make a motion to approve the operating report.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 4 is the presentation and approval of construction pay request. Or do we need to do the bills first? Or is that part of the...
The monthly invoices will be after this on the agenda. Okay, the first request is for local engineering, invoice number 13 on Kentucky 321 relocation project, $3,772, funded by Kentucky Transportation Cabinet.
We'll do these individually then.
However you want to do it.
Make a motion we pay the Coke Engineering
Yeah.
by number 13 in the amount of $3,772 with the funding source Kentucky Depressed KDOT.
I have a second.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Whatever you said, I second.
It's on tape now. Oh,
Okay, next we've got two invoices relating to the AML water line extension. First is invoice 160078 from Bell Engineering, $6,675. Second is Aikens Construction, invoice number 1, amount of $103,169.25, and funding on both of those is AML.
Making a motion to approve those.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And the last one is invoice from Bell Engineering, number 160085, amount of $1,537.50 for engineering on the Cross Creek water line crossing. And that would be funded by Paintsville Utilities with hope for partial reimbursement from FEMA.
Have you talked with FEMA on the reimbursement for this?
Yeah.
It's just a matter of getting our actual cost and then turning it over to them. Maybe.
And you never know for sure.
Right. Till their people approve it for sure.
But the local guys, actually FEMA kind of brought this to us. They actually discovered the exposed line. They work on that bridge there.
And you've got your contact person and everything for that.
I do.
Yeah, they change out.
Have a meeting with him tomorrow, actually.
Have we read the figures on that? The amounts on that?
Something on the
Yeah.
invoice, yes.
Okay. Make a motion. We pay that one.
Now a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 5 is review and approval of the monthly invoices.
I've highlighted a couple, 3 of them there. Outside that, pretty organized stuff.
Make a motion to pay the bill.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? We go into the departmental reports.
You have reports as part of your packet. Any questions, comments?
Or on a lot of the stuff that you mentioned in the report, Bob, if a decision on the majority of this haven't been made yet. We're just still trying to get preliminary data so we can make a decision on these projects listed.
Yes.
When do you think we may hear something on the Hager Hill pressure issues?
There's one other option that they're looking at. We'll analyze that once they get it, and then we'll come back to you guys to see how to proceed.
Will they give you a time frame or anything like that? Has anybody got any questions pertaining to the departmental reports?
No.
You guys have anything you need to add?
Just on that Kentucky 1559 job.
You need our approval to go ahead and
That's down in 8.
We got another agenda item on that.
When we had the E. coli problem and so forth, did we get non-compliances or anything for that, or
Yeah, we're out on the south, we get one.
are we out now?
No, we're back in.
But we got one?
did that other testing kit help you out a lot?
Yeah, because at least with it, we got a way now that we can actually test what's in the water, how much residual we got left, and know we got the chemical in there when we grab the sample. Before we didn't have anything to check with that. And the reason being, where all this is kind of new stuff, it's something we really didn't know to get. So,
How many of those kits do you have on hand?
he's got one and I've got one, but he just got his when we was doing trial down there, but there's like, what, I think 100 in each one of those. I mean, if you take a couple a week, they last a pretty while.
Okay.
And it's expensive, either, what, 60, 70 bucks, something like that. so that's a whole lot cheaper than fine.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
I just didn't know if it was like a one-shot deal or if it
No.
was, like you said, it's got multiple
yeah,
testings.
it's got multiple ones in it.
Larry, did you ever have any more problems out there trying to replace some of those elbows? You talked about a scissor lift.
We would change a couple valves down where we get to them. The ones up top we can't change. Anything happens up top, you're not gonna be able to change from a ladder.
But, I mean, did you ever look into the renting one of those for right now? Or
We found out where we could rent one, yes.
And we have found another place today.
Okay.
Supposed to give me some details on it.
And put one of those in the budget for next year.
And the company I was talking to today, they'll present various options in a lease purchase or a straight out purchase for some of the options.
Should have been done a long time ago.
yeah, everything's trial and error.
Well,
So we're done with our departmental reports. How about any old business to discuss? Worked out pretty good then. Going on to number 8 for new business.
Before we go on the old business, the testing that you did for the pressure and so forth, it was found that the old line or the new lines that was too small would work.
They do function properly.
Now, what's the next step? We're gonna present that to the state or?
Yeah, when Kelly was here, what he recommended to us is that he Rick and I get an appointment with Frankfurt. See if we can get forgiveness on that.
Do you need David to go along with you on that?
Let's see what the engineer thinks on it. You all have a preference?
Well, I mean, not knowing exactly what you're going to be talking about and presenting to them, I didn't know if just for legal counsel or, you know,
Get you together with Kelly.
if they don't think they need him, then fine. But if you think you do, then try to see if he can be available for it. Okay, next up is new business. The advertisement for bids on surplus vehicles.
You have to remember, a few months ago, we did surplus, I think a total of 7 vehicles. 3 of those have been transferred to the city. That leaves us with 4 that really aren't running. We hoped that Enterprise could auction those off for us, but we'd have to get them to Lexington. And probably cost more than the trucks are worth to get them to Lexington. So I'd like permission to advertise them locally, a little more aggressively than we've done in the past. And they are parked out at the shop, out at the fence. We're getting some calls on it.
Is that the way it's gonna be on the other trucks? I thought the
No.
deal with Enterprise was that the revolving deal, they was gonna take what we.
They need to be able to drive them. I mean, they would take these, but they would go on the hold if they did.
Did you look into what the present value of them's worth compared plus the haul bill to get them there? And
Not any detail.
I make a motion that we sell off the surplus vehicles on this list, 4 vehicles, advertise in the paper and sell those boogers.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Item 8B, sewer plant upgrades.
Are you ready?
These are items that Mark and Mike come up with and I agree that need to be done out at the Paintsville wastewater treatment plant. Basically, it's making repairs and replacing some equipment that's pretty much worn out. we put it out for bid, and we only got one bid from Thomas Environmental. He's a pretty good contractor, he's done a lot of work for Paintsville Utilities in the past. And what you see here is a spreadsheet per item. The darker items are items after the bid that we asked for a change order price to add to the project. But basically, we're upgrading the electrical service to oxidation ditches to allow each ditch to operate 4 mixers at the same time. Right now, they can only run 1, and they're having problems keeping velocity up in the ditches because they get a lot of settlement. This having the option to run 4 will make increase the velocity and make it operate a whole lot more efficient. Item 2 is furnishing the new mixers so you'll have 4 mixers in each ditch, basically, so you can operate it 4 at a time. Item 3 is new dewatering pumps. The existing pumps are just worn out, don't work anymore. Item 4 is cleaning the ditches, which Mark tells me that coming in here they need to do it right now, so it's timely. Item 5 is new mixer guides so we can install the new mixers. Item 6 is to rebuild that existing plant pump station that's out there. It does a lot of sludge recirculation, and it also takes the sewage to the top of the plant that comes from the Island Creek area that we're remodeling right now. Let's see. Item 7 and 8 was an either or. We either do one, rebuild the pista, or we put a new one in. And I think right now we're recommending we not do either to see how the new item 9 operates. It may help that issue. And item 9 is installing a new fine screen in front of the plant. Right now you've got a coarse bar screen, mechanical screen that takes out rags and stuff. This is going to go down to a 1/4 inch opening, and it'll take out a whole lot more material, which will solve some of your other problems. These repairs does not increase the capacity of the plant. It only helps it make operate more efficiently.
Is the price at the bottom the $549,000? Is that
$549 is the total of all the recommended items, including the change order.
include change order?
Except 7 and 8.
7 and 8 are not included in that.
You said that item number 4 is something that we need to maybe try to do pretty quick. Should this be something we do separately and just go ahead and get it done?
Well, I mean, the contractor's ready to go to work. If you don't want to award the contract, that'd be part of it.
We got any
We
room
can
to,
tell him to do that.
we have any room to negotiate with the contractor? 'Cause he looked, from the engineer's estimate to his bid is almost over on everything that there is.
Well, he's the only bidder we had, you know. So,
So we rebid it.
it's, most of them are over, but
All of them except for one.
I think it's reasonable.
Item number 6.
The only way to negotiate with him at this point is just rebid it.
Yeah.
May come back higher if he's the only one bidding on
It may end up higher.
it. How did the engineer's estimate? Is that from you?
That was from me. I mean, I was just basing it on some of the pricing that Mark had got previously, talking to vendors, and I usually try to be high, but in this case I was low.
I don't think we have much of a choice.
Rebid it.
But, well, the rest of it.
I mean, it's a matter, do you want to take the chance of rebidding and see if it comes back higher, or take it as it is, but then proposing how to pay for it? You talked about getting loans or something to help pay for this amount of money.
We need to bid that.
What contractors do we know that does this type of work?
Well, there's a lot of contractors, you know, there was 2 or 3 that was interested in it, but only one turned in the bid.
They turn in bids to, where did they turn in bids to you? Do you know?
Here, yeah, we opened here.
We went through the correct procedure, had a public bid on it.
I think we ought to rebid it personally.
The whole thing or the one that's extreme?
I mean, they're all kind of extreme.
They're
Really,
all
look at
extreme,
it.
I think. If your estimates are high, he's really
Well, I
high.
mean, you know, be honest with you, I don't think you'll get anything cheaper than what he's submitted on the bid, if you rebid it, but we can rebid if you want.
I'm not arguing with you, but apparently you did because you bid it a lot different than what he bid it.
I was, you know, my estimate is exactly what it is, it's an estimate, I don't get into the detail the contractors do.
I thought that's what we hired you for.
Well,
Huh?
I'm not,
We didn't hire you to do that?
it's an estimate, you know, it's not a bid.
No, I mean, estimates are supposed to be pretty close.
They usually are.
I think one item, there's $20,000 difference.
Really?
You gotta get 4 of them.
I'll make a motion that we bid the recommended upgrades to see if we can get other bidders interested.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
What was your motion?
Rebid it.
Rebid it with the upgrades.
That'll give us time too between now and the budget to see if we can come up with money.
Yes.
You know, we're talking about $500,000 bucks. We're going to have to do some
Well,
digging.
While we're on that, let's authorize Bob to look for monies to do this project.
You guys want to cross those 2 bridges at the same time?
Yeah.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Just kind of look in this price range.
Right.
And tell them it'll probably be more.
I mean, obviously this is probably a worst case scenario, I would hope.
So it's, part of that motion, is advertised for bids.
Yes.
With all the modifications where it was recommended in the dark. That way you'll have an actual, the total 500 and some. Next item up on the agenda is the Route 1559 bridge replacement project. Tell us a story on that, Rick.
Well, they just want the commission to go ahead and start the process, whether they want to bid or select an engineering firm for that project.
Did they supply you with a set of plans showing what it is they're proposing to do?
I've got 3 pages,
That's about what I got. So.
probably the same email.
Well, in this case, traditionally we've used Bocook for a relocation.
It's a minor relocation, so it shouldn't be tough to do.
Well, I hope not.
So what do they need from us?
Well, we just have to have somebody engineer how we're going to relocate it to get it out of the way of the bridge. We just have to authorize Bob who to use to do that engineering to have it drawn up. Because you're working in the floodplain in the river.
Is
So
that something we have to bid?
No.
Don't have to?
We did a little research on that.
I looked into it.
We'll all be sick.
Originally, our procurement code required that all professional services do an RFP. But when we made that change to it in 2012, that provision was eliminated from our procurement code. So I went and looked at the statutes, and the statutes actually say you have to argue this. The city or the body has to set a limit, and if that project is considered to be over the limit, then you have to do an RFP. We don't have a limit right now in our code. It's not been set. That's something that we do need to change. as a matter of just setting our ordinance straight. However, in the same statute, there's a section that says if the body has an established working relationship with an engineering firm that they've worked on previous projects with, they can enter into direct negotiations with that engineering firm without doing an RFP.
Now, haven't we been doing that anyway the whole time with?
We've done that on several projects, yes.
So who needs to redo that ordinance to make it?
I'll have to get with Jeff and do that. That's actually the city ordinance that controls us, so the city would have to do that.
And who's going to help them determine what that limit is?
So just have to get some feedback from us and whoever the city council on what that limit would be. It's the total value of the project itself that you have to determine whether you have to do an RFP above that limit. So that's something we'll have to just hash out.
So is your motion that we hire Bocook Engineering for the purpose of engineering the Route 1559 bridge replacement?
Yes, that would be it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Van Leer Sewer Project. You want to talk about it, or Rick?
The funding for that project is for the line only. It did not allow anything for acquiring easements. To make that project move forward, we're asking is this body would consider making available up to $11,000 for that purpose.
But now, this originally was something that the county had asked for through AML.
No,
Was
this
it?
is the county project. It's funded through the finance cabinet. And the primary purpose was to take the leachate from the closed landfill on the head of Van Leer and then take it to our force main at Paladish and onto the plant. But having that line in place presents the opportunity to provide service to the large number of the potential customers of Van Leer.
Were we given the opportunity to look at the plans to determine if maybe this is something that was missed out on, or just here it is, it's been approved, you all going to do it, and we said yes?
There are some partial plans at this point we've seen. We will have that opportunity before we finalize it.
But I mean, it's already been an approved project,
Uh,
I guess, by finance, since this is something they're wanting to do, or?
Correct, but there's still some work on the planning, trying to determine the location of the pump station, how much is going to be gravity, how much is going to be force main.
So they never,
We're still working on the final details on that.
so whenever they decide to do the project, they just did a ballpark number. Here's how much money you get, make it work.
Yeah.
Do we get paid for the sewage we're processing?
Yes.
Who's gonna pay that?
From the individual customers,
No.
No.
If we don't add any customers,
just from the leachate.
yeah.
No,
Why would we? How's that advantageous to us?
we get the sewer line, the ability to pick up all those customers through there.
Okay.
You look at a very just a average of 300 gallons a day or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
How much?
about 2,000 a month average.
Okay.
Yeah. and it's getting less and less.
But we do get to pick up the customers to offset.
Right. That's what, I think you're right down, but that's the main reason the line we want to ground anyway.
Miss, if I'm understanding this right, we can do one of two things. We can either commit $11,000, or we can waive the impact fees for the customers.
Correct. There's 22 parcels.
If we waive the impact fee, we're more likely to get their easements, correct? We can use that as
That's
negotiating.
what I was looking for.
Okay, well, why don't we just do it that way instead of us allocating $11,000?
Yeah, we can dig the ditch and tap it in.
You know, we're trading off their impact fee for the easements that we need.
Okay,
See what I'm saying?
yeah.
So you may not put all 22 of them in at one time. You just have to see who wants it and then
Right.
attach them.
It would be theirs when they want it, and they're ready for it.
Well, obviously, if they're getting an opportunity to hook on for free, that would seem to me that would be an incentive for them to go ahead and do it.
Yes.
And of course, once we get them on the system, then we get the benefit of the revenue. And it accomplishes our purpose of getting the easements that we need.
Let's go with the impact fee.
That's
thing.
what I'm asking for.
Okay, I'll make a motion then that, in reference to the Van Leer Sewer Project, that we agree to waive the $500 impact fee for the 22 customers?
22 parcels.
22 parcels that are involved, so long as we can exchange that, waiver of that fee for an appropriate easement.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
You think they've shown interest if they want to be hooked up?
Some have. There's actually a committee for lack of a better term, of fairly prominent residents up there that are talking to their neighbors and trying to get that thing moved. It's probably a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yes, it certainly is.
It's a big value for that community up there.
Maybe they'll get the extension lines to go with it next year.
Item E, surplus non-repairable fire hydrants.
We've got 2, maybe 3 older fire hydrants. Yeah, idea, Bobby. It's
Not exactly.
but they're out the shop. Can't get the parts for them anymore. They're old ones. Very little scrap value in them. One of our local fire departments is asked that we provide them with one to use for training purposes. That's good for them and it's good for us. If they can train on a unit there at their station without getting out in the field, using live hydrants, risking damage and something on that, it could be a win-win.
Now, do these operating the same as our current hydrants do then? They just parts aren't available? Because they train on one, they may have to do it another way.
Operationally, they're all pretty much the same.
Yeah, pretty much identical. I mean, you might have one that turns a few more turns, but other than that, they're pretty much identical.
I think one of the main things with them, make sure they learn how to shut them off.
That's a big help to us. It saves a lot of line blowout.
I make a motion that the 2 to 3 old fire hydrants at the shop be declared surplus, and that we make those available to local fire departments as a donation.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It can be a first come, first serve on those then.
That's all you can do. And some of those departments will work together. They'll share it. Like you look your shoulder and train them around.
Speaking of, let me ask you something. I notice around the city we've got a lot of fire hydrants that have garbage bags over those. I think that those are out of service.
Yeah.
Is that something that we need to physically remove rather than just having a garbage bag over?
Well, there's one, they'll have to be replaced.
Oh, they need to be actually be
A
replaced.
lot of those are non-serviceable hydrants that you can't get parts for. So a lot of those will have to be taken out and put new ones in.
You know how many we're talking about?
Roughly right now off the top of my head, I think there's like 5 or 6 that I know of.
One at the rec center.
On 3rd Street.
Yeah.
We need to make a motion to purchase those so we can go ahead and get those installed.
We had, I put 2 in the budget for this year.
Okay. I mean, it just seems to me like driving around town, I'm seeing a lot of fire hydrants with garbage bag overs.
Yeah,
It
a lot
kind
of
of
them
concerns
do,
me
yeah.
having that many eyesores.
Reason why we a lot of times we put those garbage bags over so the fire department don't get on them. You know, if they go on fire, they know that one's out.
Yeah.
So we try to keep them.
But we should be replacing them.
One thing we've talked about is possibly changing manufacturer.
Yeah.
Manufacturer we've been using, every few years they change the design.
Yeah.
Okay.
So your parts don't interchange. If there's one company we could buy from that hadn't changed it in
Years. It's
Yeah.
American hydrant. They're really, really good
I mean,
hydrants.
if we're talking about 6 hydrants, we're only talking $5,000, right?
No, they're
Mm,
2,500, something like that.
I'd have to get with Tony on that, but yeah, I think somewhere in that neighborhood.
Okay.
Tony by the
Well,
mile.
still. The fire hydrants.
Yeah, from my perspective, it looks like we're just kind of exposing ourselves to potential liability of not having,
And somebody takes the bag off.
fire hydrant service, that can provide service. And I just don't feel comfortable sitting there with them bags over.
But you said you got budgeted currently 2.
Budgeted for 2.
So once you determine if you're going to use the newer company to go ahead and get those 2, and then come back to us and say, okay, we're ready to get the others and get approval for the funding for it.
Yeah, that sounds fair to
So
me.
go ahead and get.
But go ahead and get the 2 and figure out which is your most crucial ones you need to replace,
Okay.
and do that.
Yeah, I think that's something that we need to do before our new budget comes into place.
Yeah, have them in place.
So do I have a motion for what to do on this, or?
Well, I guess what you kind of recommended is we've got budgeted for 2. Once he figures out which manufacturer we're going to use and get a cost on that, then we can actually come back and amend
Get
our
all of
budget.
them.
Amend our budget to increase that line item.
If the 2 come within our current budget, you want to go ahead and get them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, it's good.
You need that, you need that in the motion.
Well, okay.
I think you do.
Because it's already budgeted for those 2. That's why I said get the 2 now and get the
We'll
others
have to
later.
Approve the change of the budget though.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you what, let's just do it this way. I'll make a motion that pursuant to what we include in our budget to purchase fire hydrants, that we go ahead and spend those funds to acquire however many fire hydrants we can get, and go ahead and get those in place.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
There won't be a question about it.
Fire hydrants are one of those things kind of open to me when I got here, how much they actually cost.
But I was just going, I guess, on those flush valves out in the county that we were getting. They didn't seem to be that expensive because the county at one point in time was buying them for us, and we were installing them as we could get to them for the fire departments out in the county. But again, we weren't talking about true fire hydrants. We were talking about flush valves,
Big difference.
and those were only running, as I recall, $500 to $800, something in that range.
So that's a good range.
So, alrighty.
Next item up on the agenda, Bob had mentioned something about a contract.
We have our annual maintenance contract from Microcom came in today. That's for the maintenance of our telemetry system. We looked a couple of years ago, going without the contract, and figured out real quick that was a mistake.
Yeah.
The contract for 2015 was $16,000. The renewal is $16,500.
We budgeted for that too, didn't we?
Yes. I just budgeted the 16.
I make a motion that we accept the contract from Microcom in the amount of $16,500.
Second.
All those in favor? All those opposed?
Do we have any more no reads? 0 reads on your water and gas?
Any more?
Remember I sent a couple of things that had the
Yeah.
bill at 0?
Yeah. A dead meter.
Oh,
Don't know any others. But we did have an issue on our billing this month.
Well, wouldn't something show up when you're getting 2 months in a row that says 0? Wouldn't that show up somewhere? Wouldn't that be a red flag for somebody?
Shouldn't it show up under maybe a low usage?
it shows up as a high-low usage.
It shows up as 0 on that bill.
That's what-
Right, but yeah, that's,
Pretty low.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying, it shows in that report.
Is that your bill?
How do we, is there any way to red flag that we would know? I mean, I'm not saying it's a fault or, you guys or anything, but when you go 2 months in a row and they would have went the 3rd month, I ain't no telling how many months it would have been.
Unless
What
you
kind
just check. Once you
Well,
get
that's
a
something
low read,
I
have
need
somebody
to-
go check them.
See if there's some way we can.
See if there's some
Utilize
way
that
they can
thing.
fix something in
Yeah.
there where that it'll actually just show you 0 usages.
Well, it wants us to show it wants to show 0 when it's zeros, but we want to know it so
Right,
we can go fix it.
but there's no way, I don't think, of it being able to tell you, okay, this customer uses 0 for 6 months because it's an empty house
But
versus.
it's all on computer, right?
Mhm.
Well, it looks like they could program it. Anytime
Well,
it
they
comes
may be
up
able to,
zero
I don't
usage,
know.
it'll pop up a reminder.
They all will show up as
So,
zero usage.
The issue she's got now is you've got a number of people that maintain water service in their house, but they're not there. So they have zero usage, so it makes it hard to pick one like that out. But see if they can help with something.
And we do send them out occasionally, like I said, to check, you know, and they'll come back and say, house is empty and the meter's fine. So, but yeah, it'd be hard to get, because we probably out of the 8,000 some customers, we probably have 1,000 customers who actually have service that they utilize, that they pay the bill with.
A zero.
They don't want it shut off.
Okay.
Do you want to discuss that billing statement?
Yeah, had an error in our billing for this month, the bills that we just received, for a portion of our customer base. It's the residential in town on water. It was some confusion on the minimum. Instead of the minimum being 2,000 gallons, 20,000 or 200,000.
Well, the minimum was right, it was the second tier of it that was charged. Second tier. Which, because of the way the 20,000, that made it.
But they didn't get into the second tier.
Right.
It kept everybody.
It kept everybody in the minimum.
Right. So if you
And
if you use 12,000 gallons, you still pay them. The minimum was if you pay
you
two.
had to get over the 20
Right.
or 2, whichever.
Right.
I'm not sure how that decimal point goes in there.
How does that error occur?
I don't know, because I changed the gas rates for every month. That's a part of it that we didn't even realize you could change. That was part of the program that, you know, they set it up when we originally got the new program. And we've never even go into that to change it. The only thing we ever change is the dollar amount and the date for the gas rates. And of course, this is the first month we've ever done the water.
But you've been in contact with them to try to find out the way the formula is used for the computer program,
Well, there's
what can be
several
changed, or
in
what's a
there.
set number, or
There was some in there, apparently when they initially started our program, they got it wrong to begin with. They put in too many decimals, or because it's supposed to be 2,000 gallon, but it doesn't actually look like 2,000 gallon. It may look like.
But that's where we bill in 100-gallon
Yeah,
units. They got confused between
They
gallon
got
units.
confused, so they had to go in and actually create another rate code. One was like one date, and then the next one was like a day after that, because it will also go by the dates as far as to know which rate to pick.
are they
And-
currently looking into that for you to see about how to change it?
Yeah.
It's been corrected. It says,
Yeah,
Switch
they,
is being collected.
but
they corrected it.
it's a
but-
situation on how we handle the current
Right.
billing now.
And I went through all of that particular rate code, and we marked the ones, we had several, I didn't count exactly how many, that it did bill correctly, that was in the minimum range anyway.
Anybody below 2,000 gallons was
Was
fine.
fine. And then I marked all the others that actually, the difference from the 2,000 gallon, which is the minimum, and how much we should have billed them.
What customers we're talking about, you know?
The total was about 1,100.
Yeah.
Of their customers?
But I mean, we're eliminating a number of them because they were
Because
2,000.
they were billed right.
Okay.
And the sewer billed correctly. So their sewer was billed, was billed.
Let me ask you this, if we don't take any action, what's the loss?
27,000.
Okay, my motion is that we send them amended bills and just tell them we had a glitch in our
Well, I
system.
spoke with Sarah.
I agree with you, I second.
That's a big glitch to lose $27,000.
That's hydrants.
It's not something like, it's not a situation where, you know, they didn't owe it. I mean,
Right.
if they owed it, it just didn't go out properly.
Okay, the question is, do we want to do amended bills, which was our first reaction as well? Or we want to try to figure out how to carry that over on our next month's bills?
Well, just to keep from, I guess from a postage standpoint, we wouldn't want to spend the money on the postage just to collect the 27,000. If we just put it on the next bill,
That's what we were
then
thinking,
it
if I could
would
get
save us
Chrissy
that too.
to figure out some way, because like I said, we don't want to bill for that additional usage in the
Right.
sewer.
Right.
So
It's
they're
got
gonna
to be a
have to
lump,
figure out
lump pay, lump sum,
yeah, some way of
doing a line item on their
yeah,
next bill.
just, that would actually just bill in the tier range that it needs to be billed in, just for the additional.
Okay, but we could do that in the next billing cycle.
That's what we're hoping.
Yeah, that's
We
what
were
we're-
working on this today, but
Yeah,
we didn't get an
but
answer
she's
back
never got
yet.
back.
How do we know that, we're right? Of the overages and the underages and the,
Because I went through all the bills that has the actual usage that they used, and the minimum that they were billed was 2,000 gallons, so say they used 4,600 gallon, it was 2,600 is the additional usage that they need to be billed for.
So you actually did a hand calculation.
A lot of manual calculations.
Yeah, we went through them all, so.
Okay.
And if it came down, we also discussed maybe doing it in-house instead of, because we have the option, I mean, we can actually print the bills from here, which is gonna look a little different than the regular bills, because we don't have a color printer, which would distinguish, okay, well, this is an unusual bill, which would give them, you know, they could say, well, this is not my normal bill.
But you can go ahead and do a line item on their bill showing that here's the
Well,
additional
that's
from the
what
month
That's what we're
before.
wanting to see if Kusi can do that, whether we can just bill them for this additional without billing them any extra on their sewer, because they've already paid or already been billed for the correct amount on the sewer.
You just have to make sure that they get billed just that amount, somehow it
Right,
doesn't get added
right,
into that
right.
next month's bill
Right.
and
And, you know, we've had several customers who've caught it, that's, you know, like, my sewer's way high, but my water's only, and, you know, we've told them, you know, well, this may be a matter of rebilling it for your corrected amount. We have several, the high-rise, you know, the housing, that one, they are considered residential rather than commercial. So those were some of the bigger ones, which I've talked to most of those and explained to them. You know, I've not had any negative feedback yet, but,
so what's the fail-safe to keep it from doing it again?
well, now that is something I'm gonna have to talk with Kusi, because like I said, this was all set up, and me personally, or even Stephanie or Shannon downstairs, we didn't realize that this part of it was an option that you could even go into to change. Because like I said, the only thing we've ever been able to change has been the dollar amount and the date, which would change your rate code every month. So,
And we actually think that they've made a change in the system already.
yeah,
to prevent that
I
from
think
happening.
they've already, so maybe that's,
And have the opportunity to talk to them for sure, but it looks like they have made that change.
Okay. So what, I guess as we sit here today, you all working on a way to address so that we don't have a $27,000 shortfall?
yeah.
Okay. So we really don't need to take any action on it.
And as long as you all are agreeable to that course of action.
Whatever you all deem most reasonable is fine.
And most reasonable and least confusing.
Yeah.
To the customers, that's the main thing.
We'll leave it to you.
I'm really concerned if we start getting that second bill.
Yeah. So if we can have Kusi figure out some way of doing it just as a line item on their next bill, I think that would be less confusing to them.
Just make sure you say, we made a mistake.
Oh, yeah, well,
So show me opposed.
I'm sorry?
I'm opposed. Could be done as opposed, but you got enough to do it, so.
Opposed to billing again?
I'm not sure that we should, on the customer friendly end, hold people responsible for our mistakes. Personally. I know it's a big number, but that's still our mistake, not theirs.
And really, when it comes down to it, it's probably, the dollar amount is not gonna be that high because of the ones
It never is.
that it billed. Well, I'm just saying, the ones that we billed correctly,
That's the same thing
that's
with
gonna
the
come off of that, so.
CPI and all that. It just don't go down because of what we did last month. I think you ought to make a motion how you want it, and then we'll
Okay, I'll make a motion that, whatever action the, Bob deems to be the most reasonable to make sure that we don't receive a approximate $27,000 shortfall from the residential in-town water customers, that action be taken.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
aye.
No further business. Next on the agenda is the executive session.
For personnel.
Can I have a motion?
Motion to that.
A second?
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Report on the executive session, personnel, just
Anything to report?
I guess we just had a general discussion of employee wages. That was it. But no action was taken.
Motion to adjourn.
seconded.
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Be careful.
See you, bud.